Why, hello there, collectors. It is Steven here with another kaiju review for you. Or is it a video game review? That's right, we're kicking off the Rampage reviews with the Leonard figures. This time, the super stretch figures featuring the classic designs of George, Lizzie, and Ralph. So, these figures are inspired by the old Stretch Armstrong toys, and now we actually have our first real, things of the classic Rampage designs instead of the ones from the new movie. But these are kind of gimmicky. So let's take a look to see whether or not they're worth adding into your collection. So we're going to kick things off with a look at the boxes for these stretch figures. Now, one of the cool things about these is that aside from pointing out that they are exclusive to Walmart, which they are, by the way, it's clear that these designs are from the 1986 video game because we do have a retro feel to all of the boxes, and they're all unique to each character. So for an example, George's box has a nice picture of him in the bottom left-hand corner of the front, as does Lizzie's for hers and Ralph's for his. Very neat. Now, on the sides of the box, it does show how you can stretch, and it has 10 unique sounds. We'll take a listen to those sounds later, but yeah, pretty cool. You can stretch them all out, and there is a Try Me label on them. Yeah, we're going to take another look at that later. So, on each one of the boxes, it is specific to the figure. So you have Lizzie, Ralph, and George, like I said, and that's about it. Cool design. On the inside, we do have some broken up, destroyed, flamed buildings, which would be nice to have sort of like a layout for that, sort of like to go on a shelf, but whatever. Now, one of the triggering things about these boxes, they're all unique except for what is on the top of them, which is just Rampage, where George and Ralph are punching Lizzie, and the bottom, which even on Lizzie's box, stretch the figure by pulling his hands and feet. Do not pull his head. Do not assume Lizzie's gender. Okie dokie, now let's actually take a look at the individual stretch figures. If you paid close enough attention to the boxes, you should notice right away that they did not keep up with the promotional pictures on the boxes. Yeah, unfortunately, they did cut a few corners, but as you can probably clearly see on George, and as you're going to see a little bit later, it's a good thing because the finish on these things really likes to come off. Yeah, that's a shame. So the only unique thing aside from some of the applications of that powder or the decal or whatever that might be would be the heads because they all share the same body. Now in the promotional pictures, the feet and the hands are supposed to have a different color to them, sort of like, they had fur. This is the blank skin. Yeah, no, not here. They're all one solid color with just that powdery texture to them alongside some decals or whatever that may be, like I said. Now what's going to happen is we're going to take an individual look at each one of the characters, but later on we'll take a look at the overall body style and evaluate quality control from there, okay? Okay, so we're going to take a look at George here first, and I gotta say, he looks like a monkey, a big old ape. And he does have a nice snarl to him. Unfortunately, mine's a little scratched up from display on the shelf, but it is what it is, I suppose. I mean, it was only about $10, but still. So there's texturing to his head. It's just kind of plastic for the fur. Not really believable, but hey, it does capture that old-timey charm from the 80s where they're trying to show that this is something from that era. Yeah, pretty neat. On the back of the head, you'll notice that that is where you switch out the batteries for the sound feature. Now, one of the things that I really don't like about these three in total is that the finish on the torso overall is really susceptible to coming off. As you can see here, yeah, I got a nice big old splotch there on George where it's disappeared. And it's very easy to rub off. I'm not too happy with that. Very disappointing because I kind of wanted to keep these for the long run. But yeah. Anyway, now we're going to take a look at Lizzie. And Lizzie, I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to give a pass on quite a few things here, but Lizzie looks more like Bowser from the Mario movie instead of, Lizzie. That's very weird looking, stylized. Yeah, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, I mean, I guess you're only paying $10, so yeah, take it. So, closer look at Lizzie here. There is a yellow paint application on the face, which is done relatively well, but when we get to the mouth, we can see some nice, sharp teeth here. They are actually kind of sharp, so do be careful with that. The eyes are pretty clean for the price point, which is great, and the back of the head, you do see some nice scaly stuff going on there, including some spikes, which unfortunately Lizzie does not have going down the rest of her back. Yeah, that's a bit upsetting. On the torso, we do have those scale-like things to represent the underside, which is cool, but mine is already starting to break up, which, again, I understand that's part of the figure type, but still, I literally just opened these up and I started the review. Not fun. And then for the looks department, we have the best of the three here with Ralph. And why do I say the best of the three? Because to be perfectly honest, the application on his torso is really clean. It's not stretched out or damaged yet, and there are a lot of sculpted details on the head. Admittedly, none of them look 100% accurate to the source material, which is to be expected at this price point, etc., etc. However, Ralph does look very, very cool. They did capture the werewolf aspect of him, and I gotta say that this is something that's great to have in terms of that retro feel. On the torso, we do have a bunch of little squiggly lines to represent hair, even though it could, maybe be a different color. But the black, hey, you know what? That works just as well. That's pretty cool here. So yeah, all in all, the figures do look pretty nice for the individualized parts, but, I think some could look a little better than others in some specific areas. Now an evaluation of the overall body style that is used, and I gotta say right away you're able to see they're kind of powdery. They are going to have that slimy, squishy texture to them. That's just the nature of the beast with these guys. There's no way to get around that. Something that may bug a couple of people who are really anal about perfect quality control. There are seam lines and there are little holes in them where you can see they were pulled out of the mold. That's no big deal. However, aside from that finish, the decals, whatever that may be, on them rubbing off, there's one other issue I noticed with Lizzie, but then I found in the other two. Air bubbles. Yeah, in terms of longevity, I don't know if this is something that's going to hold up, and that's really a shame because I kind of wanted to keep these guys around for quite some time. But c'est la vie, $10. If I really want to, I think I can go back and I can try to find some more. Oh, and since they all share the same body, Lizzie doesn't have anything resembling a tail. Yeah. Now I know what you're thinking. Steven, show the stretch aspect. Well, okay. They're all the same, and as you can see here, they have nice stretchy limbs. So the arms can stretch out about that far, and then we have the legs which stretch out about that far. You can stretch at the torso, you can squish them up, you can do whatever you please with them, just don't pull on the head because that is where the sound chip is. And you don't want to damage that or pull the head off of the body. That is never a good thing. And if you really want to, you can squish them up and bounce them into a ball like I'm doing here, because I did that a lot to mine as a kid. So yeah, be careful with that. One of the cool things about these guys is that they're all pre-posed into sort of a fighting pose, and you can imitate some moves from the games. Yeah, because if you're familiar with the Rampage games, they can pretty much punch straight through a building. So yeah, this is cool. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the sound feature, which, so they say 10 unique sounds, not necessarily. So the way that the sounds work is you just simply have to shake one of the figures. Or if you're fortunate enough to be me, then all you have to do is just slightly tap the box and they'll start roaring. So now imagine me walking around Walmart with all three of these in my cart, and every single bump sets all three of those off. Yeah, that was a fun experience. So anyway, let's take a listen to all of the roars. As you'll be able to tell, they aren't actually unique. Let's listen. First, here are the 10 sounds for George. Now, here are the 10 sounds for Lizzie. Last up, the 10 sounds for Ralph. So as you can hear, they are all identical. However, the difference lies in the quality of the sound chip. Now, this could just be unit to unit. Who knows? Maybe they could all be different. But, yeah. Ralph is very piercing. Lizzie is kind of somewhere in the middle. And George is very muffled. And pretty much finish up the review, here's a size comparison. Since they're all the same size, I think it's fine. We just have Ralph here to show you the sizes. So they're roughly around the 5-6 inch mark. So yeah, good luck getting these guys to stand up on their own, but they should fit just fine on your shelf. Oh, one last thing. This will actually be the end of the review here. Since Leonard stuff can definitely be difficult to find on the shelf at Walmart, if you need a UPC for George, Lizzie, and Ralph, pay attention to the order there, here they are for you. George is 0, Lizzie is 1, Ralph is 2. Okay? All right. Happy hunting to you, folks. So, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. To be honest, these things are meant to be gimmick toys, and they're not really meant to do much more aside from stretch out and look pretty fun. If you're getting these for a youngster, then they're going to have a blast, and they really don't need to worry about anything rubbing off on them because, you know what, after about a day, I would imagine that any sort of application that's on these guys would just immediately come off. However, if you're looking to finally have something from the classic Rampage game on your shelf, whether it's mint and sealed box or another way, then yeah, it's sad to say that these are the first ones. They're not bad by any means. They're only $10, and like I said, they're gimmick toys. But at the same time, I just kind of wish that this wouldn't be the only thing that Leonard would be making for the classic designs. Hopefully something else comes down the line, but still at the end of the day, these are a nice throwback to that time era, and they are very fitting for the source material. Well, folks, that's the end of this review. Thanks for watching, and be sure to follow me on social media to catch more behind-the-scenes shenanigans and updates. The end card should be popping up now with more hand-selected STR goodness for you to watch, so check out some of those videos. Be sure to check the description too to see where you can buy this figure or others like it, and some cool links like the credits for this video and other ways you can help out the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.